I'm going to make a real quick video for this. So if your car is like mine and that right there, that big pulley is connected to your motor and that needs to turn for this car to run. That pulley down there is my AC compressor and it is seized up so it won't turn. So when the car tries to turn over, that big one through this belt right here, sorry, it's right there, when that tries to turn, it turns the alternator and it also turns the AC compressor. Well, because the AC compressor won't, it just sits there and slips, and so the car won't start, won't run. So this happened to me in a Home Depot parking lot, so I couldn't get the car home. So instead of calling a tow truck, the easy thing to do is you can actually drive your car on the battery. You don't need the alternator to do it. It's going to depend on the age of your battery, how strong it is. I actually have a trickle charge on it right now to get it back up, but it wasn't down that far. But I drove 5 miles with it with no problem, just like this. Pulled the belt. To do that, I had to, for Toyota, Camry, Solaris, and Lexus ES300s of this same age, or this is a 97, the ones that are near it, it's going to be similar. They have a similar setup. The bolts might be in a different configuration, but it's the same. So this one right here, you have to loosen it. It's a pivot bolt, so that allows the alternator to go up and down, to tension the belt. Well, on the side here, and I actually did this without removing this, so it was kind of cramped in there to get my hands. But trust me, this would make it real easy. It's got a little plastic lever that it would allows this to slide, but this is really old plastic, 20 years, so I'm not going to take a risk of breaking that plastic. So I just pulled these 2 bolts. These are 10s, so when I do that, and you can move that out of the way, then you can see these bolts that you're going to have to mess with. Not only can you see them, but you can get a wrench on them better. So the side 12 millimeter, my finger's pointing at it right there, that's the pinch bolt that keeps this tension bolt locked in place. So you just have to loosen this one a little bit, I don't know, maybe a turn or two, and then this one you can loosen it, and when you loosen it, that allows this alternator to rotate down, which creates slack on the belt, so you can pull it off. You can see down there, or maybe you can't, but the side of the car is really close to the AC compressor, so it's actually thinner distance than the width of this belt, so you have to twist the belt sideways to slip it past. So did that. I actually tightened the bolts back up, the pinch bolt and the tensioner, because I didn't want it to fall out and have to try to find a new bolt. So I lifted the alternator back up, tightened this one's a 14, these 2 are 12s, these 2 are 10s, so you can actually do this with just 2 sockets, a 12 and a 10, and I used a box end wrench that was a 14 on that one. Could have just used a socket as well, but I opted not to. Anyway, so you can drive your car without the alternator. So if your alternator's bad and you just need to get a short distance, you should be able to make it, depending on how strong your battery is. If you take a second battery, I imagine you probably could go 30 plus miles easily with the 2 batteries, because I made it 5 and I got home and was still at 12.6. Just don't use your electronics as little as possible. So don't use your lights if you can avoid it, so drive during the day like I did. Anyway, hope this helps somebody. I'm going to do 2 follow-up videos, one on removing the alternator and another one for doing the AC work, so pulling the AC compressor, swapping out the service port from the old one to the new one. The new one doesn't come with that, but I'll show you what that means. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps somebody.